Here we go again. Still scares me. The one color challenge. But this time around, let's up the game. How we're gonna do it? Let's find out. This is my big portfolio. Let's see what we got. This could be interesting. I drew this, I believe, after the first or second episode of Loki. Where's Sylvie? Where's Crocodile Loki? He's not even here. Might be something to update later on. I'll get to the more complicated stuff maybe down the line. This is just my second challenge. All the actors that portrayed the Hulk. Not 1,000 characters I have to do, but quite the step up from the Blue Beetle one. I think this is what we're gonna go with today. I'm gonna color this null green. Okay, it's the obvious choice, I get it. The Blue Beetle, 1 character to actually 10. 5 of the single characters plus 5 giant heads that I have to color. Yeah, it's easy just to use the same green and go over everything with the same green, sure, but I want to make each Hulk distinct. How many green shades do I have? 7. 10 Hulks. Let's try this one. There's more. So I'm gonna start coloring the Hulk from Endgame. For the Blue Beetle one, I made multiple photocopies, and if I made a mistake, no problem, I could go to another copy and start all over again. This time, I only got 1 shot at this. I'm going to color on the original art. For this version, he won't have a purple suit, of course, so it's going to be interesting to try to match the values. I'm using these muted greens, starting from the lightest value to the darkest value. Just looking for the sources of light, and so far so good, not too bad. All I could really play with is the value, so if you actually look at the original and squint your eyes, like I could actually take a picture and turn it black and white, but I just kind of wanted to figure it out on my own. Using a darker green for where I felt the black parts are, and a lighter green where the lighter tones are. Hopefully you'll just get the feel of a different material than the actual skin. Now I'm going to go on to the Raging Hulk, the first Avengers Hulk. So I wanted to add more of a yellowish green, trying to leave things like highlights for the veins, for the chest, and the side of the face. I always loved the Hulk as the character. I do wish that they focused more on him. We never got to see like how he actually became Intelligent Hulk. It was just, oh look, there's Hulk, he's smart. Tony and Bruce, they have a lot in common. Where's the buddy movie? Tony and Banner, Stark Banner, Bark. The Bark movie. When it comes to the pants here, I wanted to have a different feel again from the skin, so opting for a little cooler green. Now on to the Edward Norton Hulk. To separate him a little bit from the Avengers Hulk, I'm going to go ahead and take the Endgame green that I used and start with that, adding the values in there. At the same time, I did want to add a little bit of yellow saturation, so I ended up taking the olive green and just adding in a little bit of highlights to it to match a little bit more of how that Hulk looked in the movie. Now on to the Eric Bana Hulk, which was more of a very fluorescent green. So I wanted to take a really saturated forest style green and use that for this one here. And finally to the 1970s Lou Ferrigno Hulk. I want to use a green that was very similar to the Endgame green because this particular body here is a little bit different. Unlike being CG in nature as the other Hulks, this is an actual bodybuilder that was painted on, trying to have that feel to it. You might also notice that I didn't add toes to his foot. If you look at older pictures of that Hulk, he's actually wearing shoes, and they actually painted it, so that's why I drew it like that. I wasn't lazy, it was more I was just trying to mimic what I saw. Now it's time to tackle the giant heads, and this is the hardest part here. The smarter thing to do would have been to tackle the ends first, but I went straight for the hero one, the Endgame Hulk face, starting with the lighter values and filling those in, and then going to the darker values. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply that to the rest of the heads. When you're trying to do someone's likeness, it's actually good to not put as much detail, because as long as those core things like eyes, nose, mouth, head shape are there, someone else's mind will fill in the rest of the details. Especially when an artist draws an actor, you're always judged by your likenesses. So the challenge, can I color this one color and not break the likenesses I have going on right now? That is a challenge. That's scary. Whenever I do a Hulk video, it does okay. It is disappointing that he's not on the level of an Iron Man or a Spider-Man. Though I love drawing Iron Man and Spider-Man, don't get me wrong, but I most especially have fun when it's a subject matter that I'm really into, and Hulk is definitely one of those things. I love this. And that's why, even if my Hulk videos don't do the best, I'm still gonna do it. I would be lying to you if I didn't say that I made videos where I did it because I thought it would get views. Of course I do. Of course, that's what we all do as social media artists. But there are times when I just want to sit down and have fun. Whatever your job is or whatever your hobbies are, never lose that love. Dig down and figure out to yourself, what is it that you love to do? Day in, day out, that you would be doing anyway, even if you weren't paid, right? Finding out what that is and sticking to that and enjoying the process and be willing to do that for a longer period of time without the expectation. I find for myself, when I do that, good things come to you.
Does that mean it really isn't easy being green? Is it not easy being green?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
So this original video was drawing the Hulk from its name. I always like doing these quasi tutorials where I take a name and then I say it's very easy, but then I do this crazy drawing with it. Again, I always love drawing the Hulk, so this was a lot of fun to do. As I finish this up, I really feel the Blue Beetle was actually more successful, but I think it is passable. And I know that a lot of you get upset whenever I say that I don't like a piece of art of mine. It's not that I think the art isn't good, it's more that it's not up to the standards that I hold myself to. And with every single piece that I do, I always know there are ways to improve, and this Hulk piece is no different. I didn't want to kind of push myself for this one. Now, as you guys know, I worked for Marvel. My very first penciling gig was on the Hulk. They hired me off a drawing I did of the Hulk that they found online, and they were in a pinch. I'll tell you what, at the end of this, I'm gonna put a link to that video where I tell that story. But the thing with comics is that it's a whole assembly line. So you start off with the writers, and then you move on to the pencilers, and then the inkers, and then the colorist. And my skills were good enough just to be a penciler at the time. I wasn't that great of an inker, and I certainly wasn't that great of a colorist. So that's what makes this challenge so interesting. Even though I have worked for Marvel, I'm nowhere near the level of a professional colorist. My standards are very high in that sense. It was hard to do a very cohesive take on everything, because I kind of did a mix of a blending style along with a cell shaded style, so I don't know how successful I was. I think that's something I'm going to have to explore with further challenges like this. I will say I'm not 100% satisfied with this. I think I could do better. It's not easy to color in green, too.
What do you mean?
Did I ruin the art at the end of the day? Maybe not, but it was a fun learning experience. You let me know what you think in the comments down below.